Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Autoscope. Today I have the pleasure of telling you guys a little bit about the Chevrolet Silverado EV RST. This is the top of the line trim level for the Chevrolet EV. This one as tested today is at about $96,000. That's a pretty hefty price tag for sure. I'll throw some stats really quickly down at the bottom of the screen here so you can see those. I don't want to rattle those off a little incorrectly because there's a lot of numbers to throw at you. But this is a very nice truck, very spacious in size. Of course, it's full size, has a pretty decent sized bed to it as well. Actually a little bit longer standard bed length than the F-150 Lightning and other competitors in the segment as well. So we will start up front here. Of course, you have very bold design. So this was, some would say, even bolder than the F-150 Lightning. Still has your light bar all across the front there, but this one does not adopt most of the styling from the gas version of the truck like the F-150 Lightning does. Chevrolet decided to go a different route and make it completely different and stand out as an EV. But let me show you the front here. We'll show you kind of the size and how large it is. It is not quite as large as the F-150 Lightning, but not by a whole lot. Still pretty spacious nonetheless. I have had the opportunity to have this car for 4 days. So getting to know it just a little bit over those last 4 days. Went to Costco, did a Costco run through most of the stuff we grabbed from Costco. Here in the front, it fit no problem. You can see this is a new one from the dealer, so we've still got the floor mats and the charger or EVSE for home charging there as well. You do get power outlets in the front here, just like you do with the Lightning, except for you just get one 110 volt outlet there in the front, whereas with the Ford you do get a little bit more there. Of course, you have interior lighting here for nighttime and then an emergency release should a child or someone find themselves locked in the front. Underneath here you can kind of see Chevrolet does include like some dedicated cup holders, so if you're going tailgating or front gating as some people like to mention or call it, then you've got cup holders there. You've got some tie down spaces at all four corners, and then two pretty more heavy duty metal tie down spots there in the front on either side. But yeah, all around really nice. Front trunk area still pretty spacious, plenty to throw your groceries in, or some gear, toolbox, duffel bag, stuff like that. So yeah, it's really nice up front. We'll go ahead and close that, and we'll take you around to the back side and show you the bed. Now this thing, being as it is the RST and top of the line, does have all of the bells and whistles. So it has the nice tailgate here with the step that pops down, as you can see, so it's really easy to step on up in the bed. This one does have a spray-in bed liner from the factory, and then you do have pretty good storage. A little bit of storage here to put some ratchet straps or something like that is what most people tend to do. And then you have dedicated 240 volt 30 amp outlet there in the back, and then you have two 110 outlets there in both of those sections as well. So plenty of power hookup to use for this one. If you're powering your house, it's got vehicle to load and vehicle to home capabilities, so you can power your house and other things like that with no issues with this truck. Also, I'll try to throw in some pictures here of this being used. So that's what they call the Midgate. So of course, instead of the tailgate, you have what Chevrolet is calling the Midgate there. The glass actually will pop out, and I'll kind of show you where that can happen at. Although, since I'm using this vehicle over the weekend, I have my son's rear facing car seat there. I'll show you kind of what the space looks like there in a minute for that. But if you guys can see, these two handles on both sides there will release the glass there in the back, and then you can pop these seats down, so I can at least do that part for you. So that pops out of the way like that. Here, a button on the side here, put that down, and then I can do it with 2 hands. There we go. That seat will lay flat. You press this button here, it will release this part of the midgate, and then you would do the same exact process for that side, the 60 split side there. Lay those seats down and then the backs down like that. So then this button, and there's another button behind the seat on that side, would release these panels, let them fall flat against the base of the seat here. The glass pops in here. You can see this is kind of shaped in the same shape as that. So the glass pops in, fold those down flat, and then your bed is extended all the way from the back of the vehicle there through up to here. And I think that gives you approximately 10 foot or so of bed storage. Now, if you have really long items that you're hauling or things like that, your bed essentially is extended all the way through the cabin up to the back of the front seats. So that's pretty cool. Just a nice feature to kind of show off there. Since we're here, the back seat, of course, is super spacious. It's a full-size truck in America, so you would not expect to be cramped in the back seat of a full-size pickup truck. So you can see I'm pretty average at about 5'9", 5'9.5", and I've got a ton of space between me and the seat back. You do have heated seats here in the back. Those are 3 levels of heated seats for both the left and the right. No heated seat in the middle to my knowledge, but you do get a pull down here for some cup holders there, and then of course back seat occupants can occupy those cup holders as well. And of course you have your air vents here, got the nice red accents for the RST trim, and then down below you've got some storage for your back seat passengers, particularly kids. Throw things in there, 2 USB-C ports, and then you do have one standard 110 house outlet there for your laptop or whatever you would need. So yeah, very spacious. Even with a rear seat facing car seat, you've got plenty of space in between the back of this rear facing seat and the back of the driver's seat here. So even if you were super tall, over 6 foot, and that front seat needed to scoot back some versus the way I have it, you'd have plenty of space to make sure you're comfortable. And then tons of floor space there in the floor as well in front of the seat. I know a lot of parents, myself included, have, you'll throw the diaper bag there, or maybe like a bin that you keep with, just extra toys and things like that to keep the kids occupied while you're driving, especially on road trips. So you've got tons of space to do that there, and it's a pretty convenient location to have all of that stored away. All right, I think that's pretty much most of it for back here. You do have storage pockets on the back of each of those seats, so that's just extra storage. And then the door panel here, you can see there's a little bit of storage there, and then down below you do have storage. They have icons here. This is technically dedicated for an umbrella, and then you have 2 different types of water bottle cup holders there with a little bit of extra storage there in the back. So technically you've got 2 cup holders there, 2 in the other door, 2 here on this center armrest, and then 2 more there. So definitely you have a plethora of options for your beverages, and shouldn't be lacking in that area at all. So I'll get out of the back here and we'll go up front. And you can see here, this is the passenger area. So you do get power, lumbar, and adjusting seat for the passenger. Similar here with the door panel. I will go ahead and point out this has the Bose premium audio system on the RST, so that's no surprise there. You would get a nice sound system on a $96,000 full-size pickup. But of course you do got the same here. So umbrella, 2 cup holders there, some more storage in the back, a little bit of storage there, but mostly just for your handle to pull and open the door shut. Got a little bit of storage here up in the top, similar to the F-150 Lightning, but theirs is it's a little bit more spacious, and the higher trims have like a door where this can be kind of closed off, a little bit more private, but nonetheless a decent little storage shelf there for the passenger, and then a decent sized glove box there as well. get some more storage here on both sides of this center console. Because your gear selector is up there on the steering wheel, this frees this space up, which is actually really nice. The F-150 Lightning does not do that, and I know there's a lot of mixed opinions on who, you know, a lot of people like it down here, feels more traditional, or up there as well. So let me know in the comments below what you prefer. I kind of like this setup better myself, just because it does free up a lot more of this space here for storage. And if you're like me, I'm constantly just throwing stuff in the middle, whether it's my phone, cups from Starbucks runs or whatever, things for the baby and all that kind of stuff. So you get a nice big, pretty deep and wide cubby storage section right there. Two good sized cup holders. Me and my wife have Stanleys we use a lot. That definitely passes the Stanley test there, so those can fit with no problem. Then you get a wireless charger up here, and there's actually some, if you can tell, some kind of raised areas here where your phone can lay landscape or portrait, based on however you want it to be, for better viewing while you're driving and it's charging at the same time. So that's kind of nice, so that they did that where the phone won't slide around off of the charging pad. You then get two USB-C ports here, and then a 12-volt outlet as well, kind of like the old cigarette lighter style. So that's pretty nice. You do have some dedicated controls here for your temperature, on and off with the climate system, auto. These are your fan speeds, defrost for the front and the rear, and then it's dual zone climate controlled, so the passenger can control their climate as well. And of course, up front you have a large 17-inch display, which I'll show you in just a moment when I jump in the driver's seat, and we'll show you all the features there. All right, guys, so now we are in the driver's seat. Got it fired up. It's a little bit hot here today, so excuse the sound of the AC. See if I can get that a little bit quieter for you guys. All right, so you have this nice big 17-inch display here. It's pretty nice. It's a lot different than the F-150 trim vehicles, the upper trim, of the F-150 Lightning. Those have the large portrait style screen that's vertical. This one you get a nice horizontal style, and it's 17 inches like I mentioned. Get a lot of good options here on this one as well. Tons of menus. Do your drive modes here. They have normal, off-road, tow and haul, and then they do also have a My mode. So if you like different combinations of things with one pedal driving on or off, things like that, you can always configure your own personal mode. You also have some buttons over here to control lights, menus, and things like that. And then this puts it in WOW mode. And you get a nice sound effect there. So WOW is wide open watts. That really unleashes the full power of the truck, which again, I will throw the numbers up here at the bottom of the screen because I don't want to misquote anything. But this thing is fast, trust me. I have taken it out on the highway, opened it up, and it will definitely move very quickly, especially being such a large and heavy truck as well. This truck does have the large, little bit more than 200 kilowatt hour battery pack in it. It's the max range option. You can see now I'm currently sitting at 86% state of charge, and it is estimating 416 miles of range left with 86%. I believe the EPA estimate for this is 460 miles range. And I have charged it up to 90%. I actually charged it at my house last night up to 90%, and when I got in, it was predicting about 435 miles or so. But of course, this is a pretty brand new vehicle. It's only got 106 miles on it. I've put most of those miles on this one myself. When I got it from the dealer the other day, it had 13 miles on it, and I have put the rest of the miles on this one so far. So it's pretty new. Of course, the BMS is still trying to learn things and set averages based on previous driving history. But nonetheless, this thing definitely has tons of range, and range anxiety will not be nowhere near as much of an issue as in some of the other competitors' trucks. So again, moving back over to the center console here, you have your home screen. This goes back to the menu where you can see all different types of settings. You have your Alexa, there's Google built in, so you have the Google Assistant in the Play Store. You have a charging screen here, which is pretty cool, that I will show you. You can set a charge limit, and this will tell you approximately how many miles you're going to get based on what you're setting your charge to. So if you know you need, X amount of miles for the next day based on what you have planned, you can change that in increments of 5, and it will change the estimated miles that you'll get with that accordingly. So if you wanted to only charge this thing to 50%, it's predicting about 240 miles of range, which granted on the highway or based on how you're driving, you're not actually going to get quite that many, but still it's a nice feature to have, and good that it's letting you know what it thinks you could get. So with 90%, I usually personally with my EVs charge to 90 every day. Some manufacturers recommend 80. So with 80%, you can see it's estimating 383 miles of range there. Still more than enough for your daily driving habits for 99% of people, I would imagine. So yeah, you get some charging menus here. This is a charge later, so it will delay your charge if you have time of use rates with your utility company where it's cheaper to charge at certain times during the night. Personally, where I live, it is cheapest to charge between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. So I would have set this to charge starting at 1 a.m. and to stop at 6. And based on my daily driving habits, whatever I use during that day, that would give me plenty of time to top it back up to 80 or 90%. So that's a nice feature to have. You also have other charging menus here. I cannot see all of these options just because I'm not signed in. This is still in a demo mode from the dealer. But of course you have a schedule here. So if you wanted to set a schedule for when you can charge on and off peaks, you can do that there. And then some other settings here that would work with your Chevrolet app for home charging location, notifications, preconditioning the battery, and all that good stuff. So nice options to have there. This one does have rear steering. So with being the top of the line here, you've got rear steering, and I believe you can look at that here. Yep, so rear steering is turned on. Those are some other controls that you can control from here. Turn on your auto high beams, the camera. Sidewinder is where, kind of puts you into that crab walk mode, more commonly known as crab walk, like with, I think that's what GMC calls it with the Hummer EV. But this essentially does the same thing. Since it has rear steering, all the wheels will shift in the same direction, and you can just kind of scoot along sideways. Helps with parallel parking and things like that in tighter spaces. So that's pretty nice. You have auto park assist, power base, your heads up display settings, dome lights, things like that. So pretty nice control menu there. Got a Wi-Fi hotspot as well. Have your My Chevrolet, podcasts, maps, things like that. So this has, again, Google built in. Let me get this set up here, and it's a nice size screen. So if you're riding down the road, not sure where you're going, you're on long road trips, definitely that is a nice screen to have to show you all your directions. Now I will mention up front as well, you get an option. If you press this button here on the steering wheel, you can shift between different screen options up front, which is pretty nice. And one of those includes the map. So that I thought was really nice to have the map up front, something that the F-150 Lightning does not offer. Not all competitors do, but I do really like this. It's nice having that if you're on a road trip, things like that, want your directions nice and handy up here at your level of sight so that you're not looking away quite as much, minimizes distractions, things like that. So I thought that was a nice screen. You also get a screen here with your adaptive cruise control kind of at the forefront of what you're doing. Audio would appear here on the right side, and then your speedometer and stuff over here on the left. This one here is more of like a calm screen, so less going on, less distraction, pretty much very simple with your speedometer and then your power bar down at the bottom, showing you either how much you're regenning if you have one pedal driving on, or how much power you're using to accelerate. And then this is kind of like your standard speedometer in the middle. You've got your battery on the left there, so you can see I'm at 86% state of charge. And then the right side is your power meter there again. Going up would be using power or voltage from the battery, and then down is your regen, how much you're regenning. And of course, audio would appear over here again. If you're in this screen and you are using maps for directions, then your directions would also appear there on the right side and give you your turn-by-turn directions in addition to what's displaying over there. So that's kind of nice. And you just have the time and the temperature and the date on the left as well with that screen. So yeah, some nice screen options through here on the front, which is pretty nice. All right, so as far as your controls here, you have your gear selector there on that knob. So you press this button here in, press this button here in for park, pull forward and up for reverse, forward and down for drive, and then just straight in all the way for neutral. Pretty easy to use, not hard to get used to at all once you are kind of in here for a little while. If you're familiar with Teslas, then that will be not at all hard to get used to. Over here you have a paddle shifter type thing for your regen level. So if you have it in one pedal driving, that will help you adjust the regen. And then here you have your headlights and your wipers as well as your blinker knob. On the steering wheel, this is all cruise control settings here. So that's to turn it off, that's to set it. This is to turn on your super cruise. So this does have super cruise, which is there's sensors here in the steering wheel as well as right there to kind of watch you, make sure you're paying attention. So that is all very nice. Cruise control here, you can set the distance of the adaptive cruise control here with this up and down, and then of course adjusting your speed and setting the speed there. Over here, like I said, this button is used to toggle your screens up front. And then you have your music, your voice assistant or voice controls, hanging up and dialing the phone, and then your heated steering wheel option right there. So you have very nice leather steering wheel, very comfortable. I will say I wish it rose up just a little bit more from my driving position. If I can hold the phone up right there. This is as high as the steering wheel will go, and it's still a little bit in the way. It's not bad at all by any means, but it would be nice for it to go up just a little bit higher to really clear that screen area. And then if you can see, there's the heads up display out there in the distance. It says 0 miles an hour. But if you are, can I see it better now maybe? If you are driving, then of course it has the speed limit showing up there for you. It also has directions if you're using, the Google directions, and all different kinds of things like that show up there for you. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, so that's pretty much the front entertainment screen here with the Chevrolet EV RST. You do get some controls over here on the side. This is your trailer brake controller. You've got the level of brightness for your instrument cluster. You can open and close the tailgate as well as the front there. Turn on lane centering, and then this one does have adjustable air suspension, so you can raise and lower the ride height. So you can see if I press this button to go up here, I can set the ride height for however I want it. So we'll go kind of in normal there, and then as soon as that goes away, it will just kind of adjust accordingly. So yeah. This is telling me that it's going to automatically shut off in 3 minutes because I've just been sitting here. And I can choose to keep the vehicle on there. All right, so moving to the center earlier, I don't think I showed you guys how deep this storage is. So you can see there, pretty deep. Plenty of storage there. You've got a lot there, and then an additional USB-C port in there as well. So nice for an additional phone charger or other things like that. Get really good storage up in the front as well. Of course, this one also being the RST has memory seating, so you can set it there, and then there are 2 different memory seats there. And then you can adjust your mirrors here, of course, automatic windows for the front, and then just regular window controls for your back. All right, guys, so the last thing I haven't mentioned yet, is the tires and the rim. So this, of course, again, being the top of the line RST model, you get the big boys. So this particular one has 24-inch rims, comes with Michelin Primacy LTX tires, and the size of these, if I can look here, this is LT 275 50R24s. So these are pretty large tires for sure. But I think it looks nice on the trim, given the size of the truck, with the adjustable air suspension and things like that. Looks really nice. And you can, I don't know if you can tell in the video or not, but I have, since rear steering is engaged and I've got these wheels turned all the way this way, that rear tire is a little bit at an angle right here. So that really helps in tight spaces in the city when you're parking, things like that. Helps increase your turning ratio and fitting into parking spots pretty easily. So that has been very nice, I have found. All right, guys, so again, I just want to mention a special shout out to Parks Chevrolet in Kernersville, North Carolina. That dealership has been amazing and letting me have this car for the weekend. I picked it up on Friday after I got off work, and they have allowed me to use it and drive it all weekend long. I'm going to return it tomorrow. And yeah, so if you guys are in the market for any Chevrolet vehicle, but especially EVs, they have plenty on the lot. You should check them out online. I will link them in the description below, and ask for Les Young. He's one of the sales managers there that I have been working with. He's been great to work with, had no questions asked. You know, thought that me coming out and picking up this to be able to do a review for you guys was a good idea. He was excited to have me, so I appreciate the opportunity that Parks Chevrolet in Kernersville, North Carolina has allowed me to do. All right, thanks guys. We'll catch you on the next one.